You're listening to Strange by Nature, your guide to the strange, weird, unbelievable, and improbable wonders of the natural world.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for being here today. I'm Kirk Mona, and joining me are Rachel Gimza and Victoria Thompson. We're all naturalists who together have scoured the world for weird and wonderful wonders, just to please your mammalian brain's desire for novelty. Isn't that nice? Let's do this.
Well, hello everybody, welcome to the show. I'm happy to be back.
Welcome back.
Yay!
Happy to see you guys.
Happy to see you too, Victoria.
Well, I get to start us off this week, and
Yay!
I got a pretty fun one. I do have to give a little content warning though, because
Of course.
I'm going to be talking about genitals, not human genitals, but if you don't want your kid to hear about
something that everyone on Earth has,
yes,
then
right,
jump ahead about 10 minutes.
Forewarned. So you guys remember the hyena episode?
Yeah,
Way back.
unfortunately,
How
yes.
could we forget?
Yeah, well, for those who haven't heard it or don't remember, among other remarkable facts about hyenas, it is very difficult to tell male and female hyenas apart because females have an enlarged clitoris that acts as a pseudopenis, which does make mating challenging for the male and also makes forced copulation impossible. The female also gives birth through that pseudopenis, which can be traumatic.
Don't like that.
Yeah, I'm getting flashbacks to that episode.
Go back and listen, guys. It's
something.
It's something. Brace
The title
yourself.
alone was excellent.
Was that a wet spot on the savannah?
Yes.
Was that episode?
Yeah.
Savannah.
It's quite a title.
Yep. Oof. Okay. So why are you bringing this up, Victoria?
This is kind of a gender, something of a what you think of as a typical gender role reversal in the hyena. And there are, of course, other animals where there's some kind of gender role reversal from what we would consider typical, quote unquote.
Right.
For example,
From what's average, yeah.
right, how male seahorses have brood pouches where they gestate the eggs
Exactly.
deposited
Was
there by
just
their mate.
thinking of that, yep.
Yep. There are also several examples of bird species where the female is more colorful, takes multiple mates, fights over access to mates, and the males exclusively incubate the eggs and care for chicks. Some examples are phalaropes, which are a type of shorebird, and chicanas, which are a wading bird. The insect I am going to talk about today, however, really leaves all these other species in the dust when it comes to unusual sex roles.
Okay.
Phenomenal. Okay.
So have you heard of bark lice?
It sounds familiar, like it's
It's ringing a vague bell.
Okay.
Is it something that goes by other names as well? Other common names?
I think so, yeah. I maybe heard of them, kind of. Bark lice in general are a group of insects that have a pretty generalized body plan. They're typically scavengers. Some are pests because they inhabit and eat the paste in the binding of old books. They're called book lice.
No.
Don't
like that.
That's probably how I know of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not welcome in my home.
Okay,
Not in mine either.
Nope. I am talking about a particular genus of bark lice, Neotrogla, and these are found exclusively in dry caves in eastern Brazil.
Not where I keep my books. Probably
No.
okay.
Yeah,
We're fine.
They live largely on bat guano, so they're probably not
Gross.
interested in
Two
your
for
books.
two here. Okay.
Okay,
Gross.
yeah,
It's a way of life.
tough life, but somebody has to do
I
it.
mean, I guess has to be some nutrients, and then you're returning whatever is in there eventually into the nutrient cycle, and otherwise there'd be poop
The
everywhere.
circle of life.
The circle of poop, more like it.
We will come back to the
I
nutrients
don't
later,
know.
but I'm going to cut to the chase here. Females of this genus have a penis, and the males have a vagina, and the typical sex roles during mating are completely reversed.
Okay. I have so many questions.
Yes.
first thing. These are insects, so they don't typically have penises or vaginas.
I mean, right. Some insects do, though.
Some do.
Yeah, I guess.
So,
I-
are you open to questions, or you just want to
Yeah.
go on?
I mean,
Well, my big question is often insects are identified, are only identifiable down to the species level by their genitalia. That's literally how we do it. So,
But
if it's not their genitalia making them male or female, is it like
what is making them male or female then?
Yeah.
Because
well, the females
is it-
produce the eggs, and the males produce the sperm.
I'm so confused.
I
Okay.
have. Please,
Okay.
please explain. Please explain.
Okay.
That part makes sense. This is wild, Victoria.
Yes.
I just what? Okay.
The way that females get semen, if you can call that in an insect, call it sperm, whatever.
Get the male
Right.
gametes.
Yeah, gametes. Is they mount the male and they copulate with them with their penis. And not only do they have penis, it is spiny and it
course it is.
locks into place in the male's vagina when they copulate.
Oh
Also, not that unusual in nature, if
no,
we're being honest.
it's a reverse duck.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is a reverse.
that's a great title, but we're not going to go with it. It's too confusing.
Okay.
Okay.
Gross.
All right.
Well, not
so
gross.
Are
that tracks. Okay.
are the females depositing the egg into the males?
No, they are not. They are
What is
extracting
going on?
sperm. So
Okay.
Oh.
not only this, they remain locked in place for 40 to 70 hours, according to
long.
observations.
That's a
with
long time.
some of these bark lice that they brought into a laboratory setting. It is a long time. That's about 2 to 3 days.
Uh-huh. I mean, there are other insects and animals that copulate for long periods of time. We've talked about a couple here and there, but that's a long time, Victoria.
Yeah. Females also will compete with each other for males, and males are quite choosy about who they mate with.
Ooh. Okay.
A question you're probably asking is why?
Yep. That's
Amongst
one of
other
the
questions,
first
yeah.
questions is why?
Yeah, this is different from the way the vast majority of insects do it, not to mention other animals that mate. Well, we don't know for sure. For one thing, these insects were only discovered in 2010.
Okay.
Amazing.
And researchers have not yet found a way to successfully breed them in captivity. That bat guano diet is sort of a little difficult to replicate,
hard to-
apparently.
Eesh. Okay.
They do have a hypothesis, though, and it hinges on the environment they live in. And the bat guano, actually. So
Really?
I mentioned those caves, right? They're very dry, they're dark, and pretty much the only sources of nutrition are the bat guano and dead bats. So not the most nutrient-rich environments, you could say.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
And we know from some other species of insects, such as katydids, that sometimes males, when there's a choosy male situation, the males sometimes give females what's called a nuptial gift, which is basically an extra nutritious sperm packet. You get
to help the
fertilized
eggs.
and you get a snack at the same time.
I mean, sure.
Okay.
If it works, it works, right?
Yeah, and recent research on the internal organs of Neotrogla bark lice have discovered that females can store extra large amounts of sperm. They can actually store sperm from two males in separate places using a completely biologically unique switching valve.
What?
Yes, that
Oh,
diverts
man,
it
this is
Okay.
just
different
so
channels.
strange.
It just keeps going.
Yes.
We thought we were there. We thought we had the strange part. Nope. It keeps going. It's still happening.
This is fascinating.
Wow.
So yeah, it's thought that I don't exactly understand how this works, like how the nutrition gets from like inside their genitalia to nourish their body.
Okay, because that was going to be one of my questions.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe they're like eating
what?
it later or something. I'm not sure, but
Maybe they excrete it and then they're like, snack.
could be. I mean, lots of animals. I mean, there are some animals that eat their own poop. Rabbits, for example.
Right.
But yeah, it's thought that this sperm that they get from these marathon 70-hour mating sessions is
Kirk
providing.
is just shaking his head.
There's just so much going on. This is a lot.
Yeah.
You see why I had to do this topic.
100%.
So yeah, providing some kind of nutrition. And yeah, this is one of the reasons that the mating sessions are so long, is so that the female can like lock in and extract the maximum nutrients from this encounter.
Okay.
So they feel like the scarcity of this environment and the female needing extra sources of nutrition to fuel egg laying was probably like the driving evolutionary force behind this really weird system.
Yep.
So strange.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So does the male die after this?
Not that I
Of
saw
exhaustion.
mentioned. Oh,
Okay.
except I forgot to write this part down, but now I remember it. The spines on the penis are such a tight fit that if you try to separate them while they're mating, the male rips in half instead of
Oh,
they discovered
that's
by accident.
horrifying. Oh, wow.
By accident?
I mean, they were trying
That's
to
one of
separate
those
them to like
ask me how
Right.
I know moments.
Right. I'm like, oh no. I want to read that paper a little bit, because the way that scientists say, like, the specimen is like, if you're catching a frog and the frog leaps out of your hand and returns back to the pond, you're like, well, can't get that one back. You can't say that in a scientific paper. So you have to say, like, specimen spontaneously returned to primary habitat or something along those
right.
lines. And it's always phenomenal. It's like, oh, you messed up there.
Yeah. Well, my sources this week were a couple of articles in Scientific American and Smithsonian Magazine from April 2014. Further research was published in eLife journal. A biological switching valve evolved in the female of a sexual reversed cave insect to receive multiple seminal packages by Yoshizawa et al. And then a magazine article in eLife magazine about the research as well.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We are going to take a little break, and when we come back, hopefully Kirk will have something equally tasty for us.
It's something.
Tasty is a way to go.
Strange choice of words.
Way to go.
Hey everyone, welcome back. This week on the show, I actually want to dedicate this episode to my dear friend Katie.
Oh.
Katie, this one's for you. We're talking about your people. We're talking about redheads.
Oh.
Oh.
Katie's a redhead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
Rachel, you're a redhead this week.
I am this week, yes.
I
and
say
I have
this week
been
because-
for several months.
Yeah, it's been a lot of colors, but you're a
Yes.
redhead for now.
Yes.
That red color is a pigment you added to your hair, but hair can naturally have pigments as well
I
that are
mean,
made
when
in
I
our
was
bodies.
born, I was naturally strawberry blonde.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
I'm
there
sort
you
of
go.
an honorary redhead. My hair is kind of auburn. It was redder when I was
Yeah, a
little.
lot of people will have, hints of reddish in there. And there's some people who will just have like, orange,
Yep.
very orange,
Oh yeah,
even
my
very reddish hair.
cousin has bright red hair. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, those pigments are actually different kinds of melanin. So I have brown hair. So I have what's called eumelanin. That's EU melanin. Whereas people with red hair instead have a different pigment they call pheomelanin, which is with a pH. And
Okay.
redheads make up just 1 to 2% of the human population. But pheomelanin isn't limited to just redheads or even just heads. Pheomelanin is naturally produced in the skin of all humans, regardless of hair color, and also regardless of skin color. There's actually a naturally arranged, but all humans, regardless of their skin tone, by the way. So around the world, regardless of skin tone, humans produce about 21.1 to 28.2% of the melanin in your skin is pheomelanin pigment, and the rest is the eumelanin. So redheads, by the way, also have eumelanin in their hair. They just have a little bit of eumelanin. I guess if you have like just a little bit of eumelanin in your hair, you have blonde hair. And if you have a lot of eumelanin, then you get brown hair or eventually black hair. So redheads, interestingly, have roughly the same amount of eumelanin in their hair as blondes do. But then they also have pheomelanin as well. So the redheads are basically, all redheads are blondes with red added, which kind of ends up making kind of that orange color.
Okay.
And probably how much of the eumelanin you have is going to kind of vary.
Determine the shade.
Exactly.
I see.
Interestingly, pheomelanin is concentrated in certain other parts of the skin, such as the lips, the nipples, and sexual organs. And this actually makes them stand out, and it draws attention to those areas. And you can see how a nipple being easy for a baby to locate is definitely an evolutionary advantage. But you can also see how drawing attention to the lips or reproductive parts, or even, your hair, might also serve as a selective advantage from an evolutionary perspective. So it's pretty interesting how those things are all kind of connected. So pheomelanin is found elsewhere in the animal kingdom as well. We see it all the time. This is actually the pigment that makes like a cat's nose pink, or their little toe pads sometimes too. Yeah, their little beans. It's also responsible for some of the red feathers in birds. And this gets a little complicated because not all red in bird feathers is from pheomelanin. A good example from North America that comes to mind is the beautiful red northern cardinal. Yep. That bright red is from carotenoids, which we talked about on the show before. It's actually the same compound that turns leaves orange and red in the autumn. That's what's in cardinal feathers. But pheomelanin in birds tends to create more like rusty oranges, sort of like the orange in the breasts of both the American and the European robins. So that kind of rusty red. And so I think we've all seen birds that have kind of that coloration to it. One interesting thing I realized while reading up on this is that this orange coloration tends to only be found in males. And the females of many species do not make colors with pheomelanin. Now, granted, male birds tend to be more brightly colored than females anyway, so we generally have that going on. But a lot of those reds are not particularly like bright reds. So I found that kind of interesting.
Yeah, although American robins, both males and females.
Yeah, see, there you go. Yeah, so there definitely are some times where you can see it both.
Yeah.
In general, it tends to be more on the males.
Fair.
But this difference, where generally the males tend to have this and the females don't, actually makes for a great experimental setup because scientists can compare males and females of bird species to look for differences when studying the role of pheomelanin. So much like in humans and other animals, expressing colors can certainly play a role in sexual selection. But it turns out pheomelanin may also play a really interesting role in protecting the health of animals. A recent study seems to lend credence to this hypothesis, so let me explain. There was a study that was published just last month, that'd be January 2026, in PNAS Nexus, and it had quite a title. So let me see if I can stumble my way through this. MC1R depalmatylation inhibition reveals physiological role for pheomelanin. That's
blah, 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 blah.
Say that 3 times fast. So what this was, right. So this is a study by Ismail Galavan et al. And what they did was pretty interesting. They studied this pigment using zebra finches, which are pretty widely available as people keep them as pets. And male zebra finches have an orange auricular patch. For the non-bird nerds out there, the auricular patch are the feathers that cover the sides of the head where a bird's ears are. So picture like the side of a head just behind the eye. There will be a photo of this in the newsletter. If you haven't subscribed, go to strangebynaturepodcast.com, scroll to the bottom and sign up for our newsletter. And they also have this orange along their flanks. So the side of the body just under the wings. It's actually really cool on zebra finches. This flank coloration is really cool looking because it also has white polka dots. It's quite handsome.
Oh, yeah.
So the experiments these researchers ran involved feeding the birds special diets. The birds, both male and female, were given diets that had high levels of the amino acid cysteine. And now we need cysteine, but it can also be toxic at high doses. And half of the birds were also given a compound called, very exciting here, ML349, basically makes it so their bodies cannot produce any pheomelanin. It blocks the formation of that color compound. And the results of what happened are pretty interesting.
Okay.
In the female finches who naturally can't produce pheomelanin anyhow, the ML349 in their diet, of course, didn't change anything because they can't make it anyways, right?
Right.
But the increase in this amino acid, the cysteine, was problematic. They're able to show that these birds had more oxidative damage to their tissues. This can lead to damaged cells, breaks in DNA, all kinds of problems can be caused by this. This same damage from too much cysteine in the diet was also seen in the male finches that were given the compound that blocked their ability to produce the pheomelanin. However, and here's the interesting part, the males that were still able to produce the orange feathers showed no damage from eating too much cysteine.
Oh.
So excess cysteine in the body, they've shown is actually converted into pheomelanin. And instead of damaging the body, it just makes the feathers orangier or reddier. Reddier? Redder. Makes them redder.
No. Reddier. They're ready.
You like that? Reddier.
They're ready to be ready.
I think I said orangier, so I guess it'd be reddier, yeah. So pheomelanin is a little bit of a mystery. Unlike eumelanin, that actually protects us from UV radiation, pheomelanin actually increases your chance of melanoma in your skin. So sure, it may play a role in coloration, but if it increases your risk of cancer, there's this interesting question of like, well, why has it even persisted? Like, why do we have it if it's like kind of the more dangerous version of melanin to have in our body? And it could be that your ability to, like say being a redhead or an animal that can produce a lot of pheomelanin could actually protect you from too much cysteine in your diet. Which is a pretty cool idea. And something I was curious about was like, so is that something people need to worry about?
Well,
like, that was my next question. I'm like, there's the amino acid cysteine. Where do we encounter
Where do you get that from, right? Where do you encounter that? So what foods contain cysteine? Well, poultry, eggs, dairy, beef, and pork. Basically, meat is a big source. And if you think about what kind of birds eat a lot of meat, that's raptors. Raptors exclusively eat meat in their diets, and they oftentimes will actually get too much cysteine because it's literally the only thing they eat is meat. And think about what colors do we very often see in raptor feathers?
Rusty orange.
Shades of orange, I mean, think about the tail of a red-tailed hawk, right? Think about the orangey reds of a red-shouldered hawk, or the orangish colors you see in the feathers of Cooper's hawks and things like that. So it's pretty interesting that we see a lot of these colors in raptors, and other studies have shown that raptors are turning toxins in their blood into those colors to protect themselves, which is just so super cool that there's that connection.
That's wild.
So this was a really fascinating topic to dive into this week. Obviously, this is a really complex issue. In evolutionary terms, there are many different pressures at play. And there can be both advantages and disadvantages to genetic adaptations, and those adaptations can serve more than one function at the same time. So like things, in our body don't just do one thing. Like they don't just provide coloration; they could also provide protection. They could also do other things. And so I think that's a pretty fascinating lesson to learn from this. It is pretty cool though to say that we can now say that the hair of redheads like almost gives them a bit of a superpower over the rest of us. So congratulations, your bodies can literally take toxins and turn them into like fabulous style. So shout out to all the redheads out there. Keep being awesome. And I will say that aside from the aforementioned journal article, I got some of my numbers this week from various articles on Wikipedia. So thank you to the hardworking editors and contributors over there. And that's what I have for you.
Amazing.
Go redheads.
Oh.
We're going to take a little break. And when we come back, it'll be Rachel. This week's episode is brought to you by the Society of Strange. That's what we call our patrons over at patreon.com/strangebynature. Society members directly support the show they love, and depending on their level of support, get fun perks such as bonus content on select shows, insider photos, water bottle stickers, and here's a big one, every level of support gets every episode 100% ad-free. Come join the other lovers of the show, help keep this strange show going, and get those ad-free episodes. We'll see you all over at patreon.com/strangebynature.
All right. Welcome back to the show, everyone. So it's been a while since we've left the planet on the podcast. We've been sticking to Earth pretty
We came
closely.
close last week. We were almost off the planet.
Yeah, but we weren't.
Not
So
quite.
we're going up. We're going into space. In particular,
Love
we're
it.
going to be heading towards the Orion Nebula, but a little bit of background. Oh, right. So there are a few known rules for space and how we understand how like space systems work. And we've discussed some of them on the podcast and some of the like exceptions to the rule here and there. But in general, a thing to note is that at the center of a system is a star. When you have some sort of solar system, there is a star, and then planetary objects orbit that star.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's
that
what
makes sense.
also
Yep.
makes the definition of part of a definition of a planet is it is orbiting a star.
Yeah.
Right.
That's part of that. This is important. Now, if it's bigger, then it's like everything is orbiting a black hole. Generally, it's mass, whose mass is enough that other objects such as planets are drawn in towards like the star or the black hole. So in general, a system works because the star has a lot of mass and is drawing in other objects, other planetary objects in the area, and they start to orbit that star. They kind of get locked.
Yeah, if
This
they
is
have
a
enough
very
angular
basic.
momentum, they will orbit as opposed to just crashing into it.
Exactly. Now this is super basic description of like gravitational pull. There's a lot more
little
nuance.
simplification there. Yeah.
It's a real simple like. Now another thing to note is that all objects have some sort of gravitational force on some level.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not going to get into it because one, I don't fully understand.
Amen.
And
Technically, scientists don't either, so you're in good company.
exactly. But all objects have some sort of gravitational force. Like humans we have a little bit, but Earth is
Yeah,
stronger. So we are
little bigger.
pulled to the Earth, which keeps us on the planet. For example, like when we've gone over to the moon has less mass, so the gravitational pull is lesser. That's why we're able to do such big leaps on the moon.
It's
and
about
why our
1/6 the gravity.
Exactly. So there we go. Basic understanding. This will all make sense in a little bit.
Okay.
But
Where's she going with this?
exactly. So space is, as you know, spacious and huge, and new things are discovered all the time.
It's really big.
It is. So in 2023, astrophysicists were looking at some new photos from the James Webb Telescope.
Oh, yeah.
These images, like I mentioned earlier, came from the Orion Nebula, which is a planetary star formation space. That's what nebulas are. They're filled with gas and dust and other little bits of debris, and they are where stars are formed. Okay?
Yeah.
And more or less, okay? And this is the closest stellar formation space to us, all right? I say that it's still 1,500, a little over 1,500 light years away from us. So, and as the astrophysicists were looking at these photos from the James Webb, they found something funky.
Okay.
They found about 150 objects that seemed to just be floating. Okay.
I mean,
Not orbiting something.
They weren't orbiting something.
okay.
Well,
Or were they?
they kind of were. We'll get to it.
I mean, we're all
So-
orbiting the center of the galaxy.
Right. This is a little different. So in a nebula, like, it makes sense, right? Things are going to be floating. It's the space that's creating stars and some planets and things like that. All sorts of things are in that space.
Okay.
However, the objects that they found were smaller than what astrophysicists knew to be true. Like they were smaller objects in mass than
Compared to what?
thought to be able to be made in nebulas. Okay?
Okay, so when you say smaller, you mean like they were smaller
Mass.
than stars.
Yes. Like smaller than a brown dwarf, a low mass star.
But bigger than a planet.
But just sometimes. So
Okay.
I say small. They have similar masses to that of Jupiter.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
That's still generally tiny, and there was some variation. Some were like half the size of Jupiter. Some were 13 times the mass of Jupiter.
That is wild that they were able to detect those even.
I know, right? And that's still pretty small for a nebula space, okay? Like for objects that are typically made, which is stars. And these objects were not stars.
Okay. So
Another
the stars that are in that nebula are probably also going to have planets around them. So like what distinguishes these ones? They're not around a star?
They are not.
Okay.
Another point of clarification, because when I mentioned this to my fiance, got real confused on why I was saying mass and not using, size.
Sure.
We're discussing objects with similar mass to Jupiter. This doesn't mean that they are necessarily planetary shaped or a similar size.
Yeah.
Astrophysics works with mass and not size.
Okay.
We also have to remember that these objects are far enough away that we can't tell the size. This isn't something that we can decipher necessarily from a picture how many kilometers wide this is,
Sure.
That's very difficult and not something that we are able to do at this point in time.
Okay. So what are they?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
tell
these
us.
objects weren't attached to any star at all, and they seem to be floating just freely in the nebula, with some of
Okay.
them actually seeming to orbit in like pairs with each other. And this is one of my favorite parts. In the original paper, they counted how many were in pairs or in a couple cases triplets.
Yeah.
Y'all, it looks like, no joke, there were 42 pairs of objects.
Of course it was 42.
42.
42!
Come on.
It's so good.
Of course.
Now here's the thing is that since 2023, when this was first brought up, this seems to have broken physics a little bit. Like, these aren't supposed to be there, and they're not following the rules of astrophysics as we understand them. So as you can imagine, it has been a source of hot debate on whether or not how they've come to be. There's lots of different hypotheses about how they came to be, but whether or not they are actually what they think they are? Are these objects actually doing what we think they're doing? Are they just, or are they actually like small stars with like red dust over them? Or are they further past? Are they actually behind the nebula and we just missed it? Odds are, so far evidence is pointing to no.
That they really are there. They're not
that
like
they are there, because they have found more of them, because they've started to search for these objects elsewhere, not just in the Orion Nebula, and they found some in other nebulas throughout space. So they seem to be a little more common than we originally thought they were.
You're saying they're actually more than 42?
Yeah, but the original one was 42. So it's so good.
This could be like failed stars, could be rogue planets, it could be all kinds of stuff.
Exactly. And they did actually call them rogue, but they can't call them planets. They can call them planet-like objects. Because
PLOs.
Because they're not around a star, so that's part of it. They actually have their own special name. This is a new category of space stuff.
Ooh, I love it.
Oh.
What do they call them?
Whether or not, there's lots of debate. So far, jumbos are here to stay.
Jumbos.
There's lots of debate, but these jumbos, which stands for Jupiter Mass Binary Object, are seemingly here to stay to break our knowledge of physics. So,
interesting.
Apparently.
Well, I'm sure it's something we'll learn more about over time.
We definitely will. There's a lot of research happening about it, and it's a hot topic in astrophysics. I also really love that they called them jumbos. I learned about these a while ago. I have to fit. Like, they fully were like, oh, they're Jupiter mass size kind of
binary. They're often binary.
Binary? We're going to call them jumbos. So they're often in at least a pair. Sometimes they're in triplicate. And again, they're kind of just orbiting each other. They're not orbiting a star. They're in more or less free floating in space. So we don't know a ton about them, but we are definitely learning more. And that is what I have for you all this week. Jumbos.
Nice.
Jumbos.
My sources this week are Wikipedia gave me some basic information. Astrobites had a great article by Kylie Carden. National Radio Astronomy Observatory had a wonderful article about them. Smithsonian Magazine by Sarah Kuda, also from 2023. And then Space.com by Robert Lee had a great article about some of the issues regarding the reason behind are they actually a thing or are they not? So it was cool. So that is what I have for this week. And I believe that brings us to the end of our show.
Indeed it does.
My goodness, what a wild time. So thank you all for listening. We'll all see you next week. Bye.
Thanks everyone for listening to today's show. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes drop every Wednesday, and we love sharing this strange world with all our listeners. If you would be so kind as to leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcasts, that would be great. It lets other lovers of the strange discover the show. You can reach us by searching for Strange by Nature Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. You can send us an email as well. Our address is contact@strangebynaturepodcast.com. If you want more information about the show, you can check out our website, strangebynaturepodcast.com, and you can support the show and get ad-free episodes at patreon.com/strangebynature. Until next week, get outside, stay curious, and embrace the strange.